Hello, we're about to start the program in a few minutes. I just ask you to please silence your phones. Thank you.
Yeah, woosah.
All right, Abdu'l-Baha, everyone.
Abdu'l-Baha. Come on. This is a celebration. Abdu'l-Baha. Abdu'l-Baha. It almost sounds like the city of the covenant.
That's the response fitting of this amazing occasion, the centenary of the ascension or passing of Abdu'l-Baha, the son of the prophet founder, Baha'u'llah.
That's right. We're celebrating the life of Abdu'l-Baha, the master, the center of the covenant, el ejemplo, the exemplar.
Yes, he was so many things, and also championed service and race amity. Tonight, we're honoring Abdu'l-Baha and all that he represented through different media, through song, through storytelling, and through film.
We hope you enjoy the program, whether in Zoom, the screen, and let's go ahead and, or whether you here in person with us. Let's begin with the devotions led by Katie Bolton and Camellia Brown.
Oh, God, refresh and gladden my spirit. Purify my heart, illumine my powers. I lay all my affairs in thy hands. Thou art my guide and my refuge. I will no longer be sorrowful and grieved, nor will I let trouble harass me. Oh, God. I will no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I'll not dwell on the unpleasant things of life. Whoa, God. Thou art more a friend to me than I am to myself. I dedicate myself to thee. Whoa, Lord. O thou kind Lord, Sanctify my heart from all attachment and gladden my soul with tidings of joy. Free me from attachment to friend and stranger alike, and captivate me with thy love, that I may become wholly devoted to thee and be filled with fervid rapture, that I may desire naught but thee, seek no one except thyself, tread no other path besides thine, and commune only with thee, that I may even as a nightingale be spellbound by thy love, and by day and night sigh and wail and weep and cry out, Ya Baha'u'l-Baha.
We would like to thank Katie and Camelia for those lovely devotions. And next, the long lost cousin of Michael and Trey Bolton. We have Mr. Luke Bolton, who will share the story when the moon set over Haifa about two New Yorkers that were present in the passing of Abdu'l-Baha. Let's give it up for cousin Mike.
Thank you. I always get different references depending on the age of the people that talk to me. Some people are like, oh, are you related to Michael Bolton? The younger people I've now realized are like, oh, Trey Bolton from High School Musical? I'll take whatever I can get. All right. So I wanted to share a story tonight from a book that recently came out called The Moon Set Over Haifa. It was a moonless night on November 28th, 1921, in Haifa, Palestine, when Abdu'l-Baha left this earthly plane. When his funeral was held the next day, over 10,000 people attended, mourning his death and celebrating his life. On that dark night, however, right before those funeral arrangements, there were only 6 Western Baha'is in Haifa, and half of them were from New York. This is the story of 2 of them. Now, in the spring of 1921, not much earlier than that, across the country, you could pick up a newspaper and read an article that was a full-page opinion piece sharing an astonishing story of an eminent New York surgeon at the top of his practice and his wife, a prominent socialite, selling all of their possessions, their property, uprooting their lives, their lives of wealth and comfort, and moving to Palestine. What on earth could cause Dr. Florian and Grace Krug to do such a thing? These articles asked their readers. The answer was Abdu'l-Baha. Now, if Florian himself would have read that article not 10 years earlier, he would have been surprised too. Born in Germany in 1858, Florian Krug was a strong-minded young man. He joined a college fraternity that practiced the mensur tradition. I'm not sure if you've heard of this, but this is a tradition where young men would prove themselves by standing a set measure apart from each other and then deliberately striking at the face of their opponent with well-sharpened swords. Now, this contest was not to kill or really cause too many issues, but it was to demonstrate your firmness and determination, qualities that you would use for the rest of your life. Florian fought 47 of these duels and sported a long scar along his left jawbone, proving the strength of his will. Now, after university, Florian moved to New York City, where he traded in the sword for the scalpel and became a successful surgeon. He then later met Grace and they were married in 1904. And it was that same year that Grace first encountered the teachings of the Baha'i faith. She became an early believer in the city's fledgling community. And Florian, though he was sympathetic, was not so quickly moved to join, instead saying that he wanted to see the teachings in action. But Grace herself would attend meetings at the house of Juliet Thompson, not such a long walk from the Bahá'í Center where we all now stand. And her soul was set aflame with the passion of the other believers and the teachings that they were studied together. Now, that flame grew brighter in anticipation of Abdu'l-Baha's visit to the United States. When he finally arrived in 1912, Grace was determined to host him at her home. However, Florian had different ideas. In fact, Florian's son Charles remembers his father declaring, "If that man comes into this house, I'll have the doorman throw him out." What? Then, when Grace still insisted that this be the case, Florian then changed his tune and said, "Fine, now I can get my hands on the ringleader of this bunch." Woo! Remember, this is coming from a person that used to fight with swords. Now, the visit, however, did not go as Florian had expected. As his daughter later recalled, "We were terrified. Charlie and I were standing there by the door as Abdu'l-Baha came in, but he put his arms out with that wonderful gesture, and you could feel the love pouring out. He walked right up to my father, looked him in the face, and said, 'Dr. Krug, are you happy?' My father simply wilted and looked like a bird that had let its wings down to enjoy the sun. I don't know anyone who opposed the faith more violently than my father, but Abdu'l-Baha gave him that love that he could not resist." After that encounter, Florian never again spoke out against Abdu'l-Baha. And while Florian showed the initial opposition to the faith, Grace had a deep commitment that Abdu'l-Baha himself recognized. One of Abdu'l-Baha's companions during this trip to the United States, in fact, wrote a prediction that Abdu'l-Baha gave him, where Abdu'l-Baha said, "Ere long, the whole of her family will consider the faith of that lady as the crown of honor on their heads." Oof. Now, in the years following that visit, Abdu'l-Baha maintained correspondence with Grace, providing guidance and encouragement, and always sharing his love for her and her family. And perhaps it was that love that drew them to visit the Holy Land. They went to see Abdu'l-Baha in Haifa in 1920. And although Grace described the reason for her trip on her passport as spiritual education, in those weeks with Abdu'l-Baha, it was the seeds that were planted in Florian's heart that ended up blossoming, leading not only him to declare his faith in Baha'u'llah, but also to decide to dedicate the remainder of his life to serving his son Abdu'l-Baha. And so it was in that spring of 1921, and to the surprise of many who were unaware of the couple's spiritual dedication and transformation, the Krugs left their comfortable life in New York, preparing to spend the rest of their lives serving Abdu'l-Baha in Haifa. And when they arrived on November 18th, Abdu'l-Baha even offered them his own room, causing Grace to shed tears. But something was not right. Grace remembers a feeling of sadness that came over her shortly after their arrival, but it had no discernible cause. And Florian remembered that when meeting Abdu'l-Baha, he said, "I noticed upon arrival that a great change had taken place in his physical condition. This is from the last time he met in 1912. He was tired and weary, although mentally as youthful as ever. Sensing that his time was coming to a close, Abdu'l-Baha himself had slowly prepared those around him through hints and subtle allusions, but many could not, or perhaps refused, to see that the head of the Baha'i faith and the object of their greatest love and dedication would soon leave them. And so it was at 1 a.m. on November 28th that Florian was summoned to Abdu'l-Baha's bedside. Florian described the final moments saying, "I had the great privilege of perceiving his last earthly breath and of closing his loving eyes. The scene of agony, grief, and sorrow after his departure was indescribable and unforgettable. 9 short days after their arrival to dedicate their lives to his service, Abdu'l-Baha's soul left this earthly plane, ascending to the next world. On that dark night, the moon reflecting the blazing glory of Baha'u'llah had finally set. While they may not have expected their journey to end quite so quickly or in the way that it did, the selfless sacrifices of Grace and Florian Krug leading up to that moment and in the years that followed were no doubt rewarded. For Baha'u'llah promises no less when he declares, "O my servants, sorrow not if, in these days on this earthly plane, things contrary to your wishes have been ordained and manifested by God. For days of blissful joy, of heavenly delight, are assuredly in store for you. Worlds holy and spiritually glorious will be unveiled to your eyes. You are destined by him in this world and hereafter to partake of their benefits, to share their joys, and to attain a portion of their sustaining grace. To each and every one of you, to each and every one of them, you will, no doubt, attain." Thank you.
That was beautiful. Yeah, so I just want to reflect on that story and just ask you guys, are you happy? Yes, yes, because he said sorrow not, sorrow not. So let's remember that as we celebrate. I want to thank Luke for that lovely story. That was my first time hearing that story, so it just kind of sunk in. And it looks like now we have another cousin on the I guess the roster tonight, my cousin. We have a musical piece recorded by Mr. Jack Walker, who is not my cousin, by the way, but my last name is Walker. So let's rock Cousin Jack.
Hear the master say to this world of clay. Hear the master say what you do today. Hear the master say to prepare the way. Press on, go forward. Press on, come one day.
Press on, people. There's nothing that can keep y'all from advancing forward, standing tall. You yourselves are the only things that can cause a fall. With loving kindness and color blindness, he'll unwind this crooked road, ease your load, set you straight so you can find this. You've been given the master plan and given the master's hand, who interprets so you'll understand the complex text, the broadband. These illusions that cause confusion among the masses, living like straight up fascists. When in the end, we'll all go out as we begin, naked and empty-handed. Is that not just as the Creator planned it? If what we agree is He is the Master, be as He is. What you see is all truth and love, and that's what free is.
Hear the Master say to this world of clay. Hear the Master say, what you do today. Hear the Master say, to prepare the way. Press on, go forward, press on, come one day.
I'ma make this succinct and say exactly what I think. We're on the brink. Though this water's murky, this vessel's jerky, you can calm the storm, become informed. Divest the past at long last, wade in waters, truth adorned. Not to be gruff or terse, but what could be more perverse? Remaining on ships whose course is cursed. Bound by allegiance, they nurse to a pirate captain who bails first, leaving his crew to be submersed.
Hear the Master say to this world of clay. Hear the Master say, what you do today. Hear the Master say, to prepare the way. Press on, go forward, press on, come one day.
Abdu'l-Baha, son of Baha'u'llah, the master of his father's call. The single one who can explain it all, like the pupil of the eyeball. Regulating light and day from night. Vision of precision, right? Not left to our interpretation's sight, but a clarity to recite. Not to rewrite because it's already airtight, allowing us to ignite perceptions for correction of Shiite, Sunni, Christian, Buddhist, Semite. Baha'u'llah has truths to unite. Baha'u'llah has truths to unite.
Hear the Master say to this world of clay. Hear the Master say, what you do today. Hear the Master say, to prepare the way. Wipe away this earthly dust. Pray your trust in God will stay.
I think we can all agree that was such a powerful piece of music. Next up, we have a film, Luminous Journey, about the visit of Abdu'l-Baha in 1912 to the United States, well, to the Americas to be exact. And the film itself is 3 hours long, but we will have some selections today. I do invite you to watch the film in its entirety on YouTube, the Luminous Journey film. And yes, so enjoy the selections we have, and sorry, I've seen the setup. But yes, enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining our program tonight, everyone. Those in person and on Zoom. We hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, we have really, thank you. We have a star in the audience, a few stars. Michael Bolton, who? You know what I'm saying? We got Luke and Katie. All right. Yes, we would like to thank you guys for joining us this evening. We hope everybody enjoyed the program. It was amazing to me. And thank you to those people out there in the Zoom world also, whoever you may be.
Okay. So we have 2 more celebrations, Saturday and Sunday, and we hope that you could join us or share the word that they're happening. It's definitely a festival. It's different every night. It's 3 p.m. and yeah, it's different experiences. So hope that you can definitely join us. And to close us off, unfortunately for tonight, is Richard Young with a prayer.
Yes. Come on up, Richard. Close us out.
O Lord, so rich in bounty, so replete with grace, whose knowledge that mine inmost heart and soul embrace. At morn, the solace of my soul is none but thee. The knower of mine ardent goal is none but thee. The heart that for a moment hath thy mention known will seek no balm save longing pain for thee alone. Withered be the heart that sigheth not for thee, and better blind the eye that crieth not for thee. In all mine hours of deepest gloom, O Lord of might, my heart hath thy remembrance for a shining light. Do through thy favor breathe thy spirit into me, that what hath never been may thus forever be. Consider not our merit and our worth, O Lord of bounty, but the grace thou pourest forth upon this broken winged bird, whose flight is slow. Out of thy tender mercy, newfound wings bestow.
Thank you for coming. Just wishing you good night and safe travels, everyone. Thank you again.
Aloha.